raised me in Jackson. They had a Shell service station there for 35 years. It was a great place to grow up. We wanted to go back. Susan's brothers were still there. It's where she was from too. They had small businesses in Jackson, so it worked out very well that we could move back and become part of that community again, and which we have been doing for the last few years. I'm president of the Jackson Rotary Club, involved in the Jackson R2 School Foundation, the Southeast Missouri University Foundation, and I teach as an adjunct professor at the MBA school here in the business school. So it's been a good move back. We've been very involved. Last year, it was kind of a time to talk to my friends, talk to our community leaders, and I really thought, what more meaningful can I do in our community? And that's where I decided that I'd like to run for mayor of Jackson, and made that decision last year. And there's really three things that I'd like to do as mayor of Jackson, the key in on. First would be communication. I'd really like to be very involved in communicating to the citizens and the businesses of Jackson. Doing that, with one-on-one discussions, having town hall meetings with the citizens of Jackson as well, and then just making sure that on a day-to-day basis that I'm available for citizens to talk to me. The second one is business outreach. I think there's a lot to do in business outreach to continue to grow Jackson's business. The revenue from business is the key to Jackson's growth. And I don't want to raise rates of sales tax or real estate tax, but what I'd like to do is to grow those funds that are available to Jackson by having more businesses in Jackson, not only on a retail basis, but also on an industrial basis as we go forward. And to do that, you've really got to reach out to businesses, work with them, find out what their needs are, and then making sure that the city of Jackson is doing everything that they can to provide that, from their standpoint. So business outreach, communication is important. And finally, it's a little about protecting the tradition of Jackson. Jackson is a great community. We do have a safe and very efficient city government, and I want to make sure we protect that. And we protect that by working with our city staff, the city council, and closely to make sure that we keep costs under control, and most importantly, that we work to increase our revenues through having more sales and more jobs in Jackson as we go forward. So I'd be proud to have the opportunity to be the mayor of Jackson, and I appreciate your time spending and listening to me tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, just to double check, no other candidates came in while we weren't looking. Okay. Our next group of candidates would be from the Jackson School Board, and we have one candidate from the Jackson School Board. Come on up. Ladies and gentlemen, candidate for Jackson School Board, Brad Knoll.
Hi. A little bit about myself. I lived in Jackson for 19 years. Met my wife at college. Married her 16 years ago. We said 16 years in November. It's actually been 15 years now, so I want to get that screwed up. We have two children, one in 4th grade, one in 8th grade. 8th grade is a member of the band program. I'm a member of Crossroads Baptist Church. I'm currently working on the math work group in Jefferson City, currently rewriting the math standards for the state. That's something that's very important to me, the Common Core issue and everything that goes along with that. So we're working very hard with that to get that taken care of. I've been 16 years with the city of Jackson, currently serving as the water utility foreman, and graduated in 1996 from Missouri Baptist University with a bachelor's degree in business administration. My big three things are, one, class size. We're currently building a new multi-million-dollar elementary school. The current plan does not provide for reducing class sizes. It does provide for reducing over reduce class sizes, and in my opinion, it could actually increase class sizes in some of the areas before the end of the year is up. So I want to work to get those class sizes back down. I really want more open communication with the public and the board at their board meetings. It's not real easy to talk to the board. There's many hoops that you have to jump through, and I would like to get that process more streamlined and make it more accessible for the people when they come to the board meetings to speak. Last but not least, employee appreciation. Jackson's got some of the hardest working employees around, city and in the school district. I feel that they can do a better job of letting their employees know that they're appreciated. They tell them here and there, but I think that they can do a better job. I am, like I said, look for locally defined education. I want to keep that here locally. I don't need the federal government telling us what we need our kids to know and when they need to know it. And we also have a small area of education supplies. We've got teachers, it's no different in Jackson than it is anywhere else. We've got teachers that are spending money out of their own pockets to buy things to do their job on a daily basis. And that to me is unacceptable. As a school district, if a teacher needs something, the school district needs to provide that for them. We don't need to be having our parents send in pencils and note paper, stuff like that. So that's about all I have. And if you're in my voting area, I would appreciate your vote. Come make me vote. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next on our list is the Gordonville Fire Protection District. We have 2 candidates from that area, and we'll start with Judy. You're up. So, candidate for Gordonville Fire Protection District, Judy Claproth Gentry.
You got the name right. Hi, I'm running for the Fire District Board in Gordonville. It includes Dutchtown and Tilsit. I'm a lifelong member of the Gordonville area, and I grew up in Cape County. I graduated from Jackson High School and Southeast Missouri State University. I started my career after high school. I worked various different jobs, but then in 1982 I was a police officer and still am. I worked for the Cape Girardeau Police Department as an officer and a detective, was there for over 18 years. From there I went to Southeast Missouri State University, and I'm an officer up at the university, and I'm currently a sergeant doing scheduling and supervising. I'm also very involved in my children's activities when they were younger, not so much now because they're older. They both went to Gordonville Attendance School Center. I did the PTO there and other activities. And also for Gordonville and schools in Jackson, I helped with a Project Charlie, which was an alcohol and drug abuse prevention program. I'm a board member of the PWP, which is Parents Without Partners. I'm running for Gordonville because my son's been an active volunteer fireman there for over 5 years. He's wanted me to run. I see how much time he puts in. My goals there are to keep the fire rating low, support the community and the fire department. They have a very good working relationship with the community and the board at this time, and to keep them doing basic and advanced life support and medical services. They do that along with related fire department calls. I have 4 minutes left. Oh, 3, okay.
You don't have to fill it.
Some of my things I do like to do, I like to travel, I like to scrapbook if I have time. I love to do yard work and gardening. My parents are in Gordonville Fire District. I'm sure there'll be some other things I could have thought But that's about it. Oh, I'm a member of New McHenry United Methodist Church, and I know that's where you go. And so that's about it. That's why I'm running, to support my kid, and I see how much time the fire department puts in, and they need the help, and they actually, I think, need extra people to help answer calls.
Thank you.
Thank
Our second candidate for Gordonville Fire Protection District. Wilson, that's all right. Michael Caston.
Good evening, folks. Yeah, to pardon my limp, I got kicked by a steer back in September, and he broke my leg, and I'm still recuperating. I want to thank you for inviting me to this forum. I appreciate this is the first one I've ever done, so if I'm a little nervous, forgive me, please. I'm running for the open position on the board for the fire department. I retired from the department after close to 20 years. I was captain in Station 2, tanker driver, just a hose puller, whatever, grunt around the fire scenes, whichever, however you want to say it. I did a lot of work there. I'm proud of the department. We have a good, strong department, and I would like to I'm running for the board so that I can help keep the department strong. Gordonville's had some troubles in the past. Everything is calmed over now. Things are going great. We have the medical assist program, which is a good thing. They work well on fire scenes. I'm just running so that things can stay the way they are and keep and steadily progress up with their training and with everything else. ISO ratings, so we can get the insurance lowered for the members of our district. And I would just like to get in on that and do the business at hand. And I thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and finally, a Cape Girardeau School Board candidate, Anthony Joseph Keel. I think he's about to call us down the room.
Thank you. Can I just ask, who lives in the Cape Girardeau School District that's here tonight?
Appreciate that.
All right, great. I'm Dr. Anthony Keel. I'm a local family physician here in Cape Girardeau, and I'm running for the school board. And if someone asks, why should you vote for me? Well, basically, two reasons that I want to talk about. First is I have experience that I think is important to serve on the school board. And number two is I basically tell it the way I see it. Okay, I'm not a yes man. First of all, as far as my experience, I grew up in Cape Girardeau, and I went through all 13 years of elementary and secondary education here. I graduated in 1989. I then left and went and did my training to become a physician and lived in Illinois for a while. And then I came back to Cape Girardeau in 2002. And since then, I've had an additional 13 years of experience as being a parent of 3 children in the Cape school system. My son graduated last year and is now at Rolla, and I currently have 2 daughters. One's in the 6th grade and one's in the 9th grade in the Cape school system. And so, you know, comparing when I was in school in the 70s and 80s to versus now, one of the things that I see is, you know, I don't see that the school system, it's an excellent school system, but there's a lot of different rules and regulations that have been put in place that I think should actually have hurt learning and made it harder for both the teachers and administrators to do their job, teach our kids, and improve the education. And so, you know, one of the jobs of the school board is they can either create those problems or they can solve those problems. And I don't think they're doing a real good job of solving them, and I hope to be able to help change that. The school district is a multi-million-dollar enterprise that has hundreds of employees, millions of dollars in property, and a multi-million-dollar operating budget. As a physician, I'm the managing partner of my practice, Cape Family Practice, and also the Optimized Living Center that I have. And I have 12 years of experience as a managing partner doing these things. I've dealt with dozens of employees, millions of dollars in revenue. I've dealt with government, agencies, vendors, and budgets and all these different things. And in my personal opinion, you know, the Cape school system currently gets 80% of your tax dollars from your personal property and your real estate. And I think if, you know, I personally, knowing how much I pay in personal property and real estate, I want someone managing that money that has some kind of financial experience. And rather than some of the people who have served on the board in the past and are currently serving that have little or no financial experience. And so that's one of the things that I think I can bring is my experience in dealing with both individuals and where I've had patients. So I'm dealing with people on a daily basis, but also I have experience dealing with employees and managing finances. Another thing is anyone that knows me knows that I tell you the way I think. What I think about something, that's what I'm going to tell you. You may not like what I think, but I'm going to tell you what I think, and I'm going to explain to you why. And the job of the school board is to run the district, not just go along with what the superintendents and the administrators tell. And I think that there's been some issues in the past with some of the previous school boards where basically they rely on the administration to tell them what's going on in the district, to make suggestions, and that's what they use to determine what they're going to do. So in some of the things, specifics of things that I want to improve, one big thing that I see as a problem now is communication. To my knowledge, the school board does not meet with the teachers or the administrators from the different schools. And in the private sector, you just don't hear, people who run a company, you talk to your employees, you talk to your managers. Because if you don't know what's going on, you can't fix the problem, and all you do is cause more problems. So one of my goals is to meet with every administrator, every principal, assistant principal, and every teacher in the school district in all the different schools at least twice a year. The other thing is, the school board has a real problem with answering emails or talking to the constituents. The school board serves at for the taxpayers. And so I think as a school board member, you have responsibility to answer to the taxpayers. Another thing I want to improve is to remove a lot of the rules and regulations that have been put in place, to work on things like the Common Core, the dress code fiasco that happened a couple of years ago. And then another big thing is just is to deal with the budget, the bond, and make sure that money is handled responsibly. So anyway, that's why I'm running for school board, and I appreciate your vote on April 7th.
I believe that is he is our final candidate. I want to thank all the candidates for coming tonight and speaking to our group. We have a couple more pieces of information we're going to talk about with the group. A presentation on the upcoming use tax that's on the ballot, and the Cape Girardeau School Board bond issue. Deborah Jenkins is going to give us a little information about both of those topics, and then if we have some time left, which looks like we will, we can just look at the ballot and talk about the other question that's on there that I'm curious what you guys think about it and how you move forward. So feel free to ask questions as we go along here. I think we can all chime in and discuss these next few topics. So Deborah, we'll get your presentation up there.
Hi, thanks again for coming out. My name is Deborah. I'm part of the No Mo tax group, which is short for No More Taxes. Okay, and after are you paying too little? Have you asked yourself that lately?
No way.
Okay, well, I just want you to consider it. Maybe you are. Because over the past years, our Cape County politicians have raised your property tax, so apparently they think you're not paying enough. As you can see, 2012, 2013, 2014, and I'm sure there's actually another 1 or 2 years prior to that that's on there. I just didn't have that on there.
Speak up there.
Oh, you guys can't hear? Okay.
Pretend you're talking to your kid.
Oh yeah, well there's not a lot of yelling at my house. That's all on that one, so. Okay, the county commissioners want you to pay more taxes because they voted unanimously, which is a key word here. That means all 3 of them in the county voted for it. to put the use tax 1% on the ballot. That, again, well, I haven't got to that part yet. I wanted to kind of, just in case they didn't realize that last year. Here's what the ballot is going to look like. And you can read the details. We're asking you to vote no on April 7th. But gee, you know what? As she was saying, if this looks a little familiar, it's because they asked for this last year as well. So instead of voting no on April 7th, we had to vote no on April 8th last year. So it's the same thing again. And I'm going to explain it, so we can go on to the next one. This is kind of just a quick presentation. Last year, 2014, the tax was on the ballot. And as you can see here, it said that the city council actually voted to put it on the ballot. But this time, the county voted to put it on the ballot. So that's just your different websites that we're citing the information on. So we got to vote no again. It's the internet sales tax. Well, it's also the out-of-state sales tax. And basically, this sales tax, you will have to, if you buy something like $50 on the internet here, and 100 from Amazon here, and then another, and then you found a car out of state, or a boat, or maybe you bought some lumber for and you bought it just right on the other side of on the river here. The minute you go over $2,000, all of a sudden, everything's taxed now. And we can go on. That's just kind of explaining one. And basically, that's what it says here. It's levied. I want you to know levy is another word for tax. It's one of the many words. It says out-of-state purchases, but it's strange because in one of their meetings, they actually didn't refer to an out-of-a-state. They actually referred to out of the county. The example that the commissioners gave was if you go down here, and you don't pay Cape County taxes on it, however, on the ballot it says out of state. But as you can notice, it says, along with purchases of other tangible personal property as defined by law. So unless you know the law, you might find out that's just a little bit more than just out of state. You have to kind of look at that, keep an eye on it. Okay, is it the internet sales tax? I was just kind of mentioning that. Basically, they give the figure of $2,000, but the minute you go over that $2,000, even under that $2,000 is now taxable. And that's in one calendar year. Basically, could you be spending, let me see, could they be spending too much? Okay, I know in my budget over the last few years, I've had to kind of cut out the candy and kind of the soda and some of the extra trips down to Boomland and buy something more local here. But I don't think they're cutting back on their budget, 25 to 35 million for a gleaming new building. They want they're trying to raise between 25 and $44 million for a new building project. And not to mention the $100,000 for the emergency sirens that are gone out. I don't know if your paychecks have gone up too much lately, but I think maybe they just need to take a look at the budget and be a little bit more practical with their spending. Well, tax appeal, that's exactly what I was saying. I'm feeling the pinch. I don't know about you. The wages, I'm not sure if we're in a complete full recovery yet. I hear the gas is coming back up again. It costs for the milk and bread and meat, beef, it's outrageous. It's outrageous. Do you want to pay more? Well, the county commissioners think you do. They want to implement this tax. It's the second time they've asked for it. The building project is what they're wanting to spend it towards. And another roundabout in Jackson, though that one's being paid by the transportation. And it will, I think it's the next one actually. Okay, haven't we raised our taxes enough? And then that is a 5 year span of all the different taxes that we've actually approved. So, I think we've actually approved a lot of taxes over the past years. I think I'm gonna vote like my wallet depends on it. I'm gonna vote no. Okay, the last county, sales tax figures. As a matter of fact, this is, they just reported in March, just this last Thursday, that the year-to-date is up almost 10%, 9.39. And what this basically says here is that if the county rates in 6-month period of time doesn't look like it's going to cover the bills, we have a provision which says that they can increase our property tax. And that's how they've increased it without us approving it over the last 4 years. And so that's basically what that says, is they have the approval. Right now, it looks like it's up, and then they're, but it's strange how some of those numbers kind of look like they go down right in that 6-month period, and then right afterward, they go back up again. So, okay. So again, this is the end. This is what the ballot's going to look like. You need to vote no. And the other thing that I need to tell you is this also highly affects businesses, because there's a form that's going to have to be filled out. That means you're going to have to keep track of all your internet purchases and everything that you haven't paid on that's the tangible property. And this is really targeting businesses for use taxes. I mean, there's a lot of businesses that buy online and have things sent to them. So, and I think might be the last one.
Any questions?
How do they collect those internet sales taxes?
Well, it's, on that stuff, it's
Like-
supposed to be, you're supposed to fill out the form and be honest.
Yeah. Like a lot of people do that.
But under a tax
Well-
audit, they should be able to easily research your internet sales, because how do you do purchases on the internet?
Well, they call it the NSA.
Credit cards and PayPal, and there are records they can easily get hold of
Yeah, there
to
are
determine your
records.
internet sales.
Yes.
So don't kid yourself.
Well,
One
if you have a sales tax number, you're eligible, you're liable for use tax. Anything that you consume yourself or.
Yeah, businesses right now fill out use tax forms. I get sent them all the time. Go
I used
ahead.
to too.
Yeah.
One of the things that as you were talking about this, that I noticed this year is that I had absolutely no change in the property that I'd owned for the last 8 years. And this year, when I went in to pay my property taxes, I saw a 500% increase in my property taxes. And I want to know why.
Well, I would
Come to the
definitely,
county commission meetings with us.
yeah, I would
Ask
definitely,
them the questions.
yeah, I would definitely
Maybe
ask
we'll
them.
have a
Because, I mean, there's procedures if you think that you were increased wrongly and maybe they don't have the right value on your house. I mean, we're all human right now, so.
This was just on a vehicle.
So I definitely question
We
it.
have a new assessor in the office, so.
Was there any more questions on the?
I have a comment. No matter who is in office, even the best of person, they're gonna try to always play on your emotion. And keep in mind, because I've been to the public meetings, that we do need, the jail system, the whole court system, how they get the prisoners to and from court. I am completely empathetic with that, and I want to, go on record that